What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing more limited pieces and specifically their current value trending on the secondary market. In case you guys didn't hear, there is actually a limited piece dropping today over on the Funko Shop. It's a big deal if you are a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collector or just a fan of Nickelodeon Pops in general. It is the 3,500 piece Krang in Bubble Walker. Really cool mold, lots of detail here on this one, although it is not one that is just going to cost you $30. If you want to get this one early and have access to actually purchase it, you're going to have to spend 1,325 of your fan rewards points to become a fan rewards member through the Funko website. It is free to join and you earn points for free with every single purchase. So I don't think 1,300 points is too bad, but just keep that in mind if you are trying to pick this pop up today. I also want to point out, if you go under the limited edition tab, oh, you get this fun error right here, so I'm not even able to show you, but there's actually no more limited piece pops scheduled to release on the Funko Shop for the month of November, and they have not released their limited edition schedule yet for the month of December. Hopefully they get this error fixed here, but when they do hopefully release more limited piece pops for the month of December, I will keep you guys updated and informed because I want to focus in more on what's going on with the limited pieces here in the Funko community, and that's why I want to ask you all if you noticed any limited pieces, which includes any pop with a piece count, a con sticker pop that has a piece count, an NFT, anything that has a limited edition piece count on it. If you see a significant rise or fall in value, whether you own it in your collection or it's something that you're trying to pick up for your future collection, drop it down in the comment section below so I can keep those details updated to everybody in these videos that I'm going to try to start putting out weekly or at least bi-weekly. But now let's move over to talking about the limited piece pops that I've tapped for today's video. So the first one is a really interesting one. So this Superman, which is a new variant for 2025 moving into 2026, this pop is actually unreleased, yet somebody managed to secure this one in hand. It is a 9,500 piece, and they're calling this the what did they say this one was? Well, somebody has it on eBay. It's like the artist sketch pop, and limited 9,500 pieces. Like I mentioned, somebody managed to get one in hand even though it hasn't been released. They currently have it up for $160 or best offer over on eBay, so good for Bees Collectibles that they were somehow able to get this, but really wild that this has not hit the market yet, although somebody managed to have one. Funko is rolling out these artist sketch pops. I think they're okay. Not my favorite. I kind of like my characters colored in, but just had to start off the video highlighting this pop because I didn't know it was coming out, and I wouldn't have known it was coming out if you know, this person on eBay hadn't posted it for sale. But if somebody does end up buying this, definitely let me know down in the comment section below because I will gladly take a 15% commission of the sale. No, I'm just kidding. But let's move on to the next pop here. It's also a Superman pop, and this was the 500 piece sketched grail, or excuse me, 750 pieces for the Superman Justice League of America comic cover. This one did sell out very quickly, and believe it or not, had a retail price of $50 and is currently trending for $220, with the last sale being $220 on October 4th, so about a month and a half ago, so fairly recent. And with this being so limited, coming in at that 750 piece mark, this one is probably going to be a pop that doesn't pop up for sale too often, so we're not going to have many sales on it. But I'm really curious to see how something like this does long term. Funko has definitely scaled back production of the comic covers in general, which I think is going to help the longevity of the few that they do release. I really like them. I wish we had more wall space for them, and I really hope they continue to put out limited pieces of the comic covers, especially as drops on the Funko Shop, secondary retailers, or as con exclusives. Moving on to the next one. This was one specifically that somebody asked I cover in the next installment of this series. So here we have the 5,000 piece Frieren. I'm probably saying that wrong, but this one was an exclusive to Chalice, I believe. And, you know, 5,000 pieces is not that limited, but shockingly enough, this has a $195 current value, with the last one being sold for $200, and it did have that Chalice sticker on it. I think there was some drama surrounding this one. I don't remember the exact happenstance of what was going on with this pop, but pretty crazy that a 5,000 piece character here is going for about $200, so pretty crazy. Next one, we have a couple that I had to mention, once again thanks to some comments on the last video in regards to the solo leveling characters here that are specifically limited. The first one that we have here is the 9,500 piece Supreme Sung Jinwoo. I don't know anything about solo leveling. The only thing I know is that so many people have been asking if we have any spares of these pops. We do not. But once again, $130 as a value for a pop that has 9,500 pieces. Something that's almost 10,000 pieces in production is carrying grail status here, which is pretty crazy. The last one sold, it looks like we have 2 sold in the last 30 days, with a low of 110 and a high of 135, average 122. So 130's pretty on the mark here for this one. And then there is another highly sought after solo leveling pop here. This was a Supreme, once again, coming in at that 9,500 piece count. The glow-in-the-dark Tusk, which is also carrying a very significant value for a pop that, in my opinion, is not very limited. $195, and this thing has just been climbing up in value since it was released in August. The last confirmed sale was made by Biz Pops on November 11th, Veterans Day, for $200, so even higher than the estimated current value here. So this one is on the up and up, and if you guys manage to secure any of these highly sought after pops, definitely let me know down in the comment section below. Next up, we have one that I don't even remember releasing. This is another Supreme. This is the 9,500 piece Shin Godzilla. Godzilla as a character as a whole is very popular, so I'm really not surprised to see this one you know, with a decent value, although this one was released at the end of September, 9,500 pieces, only 2 captured sales here on this one. Last sale was on September 4th for $120, but currently HobbyDB estimates this one with a value of $70. Either way, 70 to 120, I mean, you could split the difference and go 95, 100. This is still one that's carrying quite a bit of value, even though it's 9,500 pieces, so it's another one that I wanted to highlight for today's video. The next one that I wanted to talk about here is a big one from this past year's Fundays. This was the show-only Blacklight Freddy Funko as Iron Man. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I want to incorporate all limited pieces that Funko has made into this video series. And this one was very limited, coming in at only 500 pieces. And out of the gate, it started off very hot, coming in at $570 back in June. Now it's come down quite a bit to $250, which is still substantial. But the reason I wanted to point this one out is because we've gotten several Freddy as Iron Mans with this exact mold, although this one I believe is the most limited, coming in at 500 pieces, yet it's $250. However, you go back to some other pops, like we just saw for the solo leveling, where they're 9,500 pieces, carrying a value upwards of $200. So it's kind of making me wonder, are people just either not collecting Freddy Funko as much, or are they just more into whatever's happening in the moment, where they want specific characters, they want specific lines, and even items that are super limited and given out in person, people aren't seeking them as much as they are some other things, even though the ones that were given out in person at these big events like Fundays, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con are super limited, super hard to get. So it's just kind of curious right now to see how the limited piece market is shaping up, because you really can't look at a pop and identify it by its piece count and come up with a value on the secondary market. Everything is all over the place right now, and it really depends on the character, depends on the mold, depends on the variant. So it's really interesting stuff to see. The last pop that I wanted to focus on was the 100-piece metallic Flash. That was a New York Comic Con exclusive. It was part of the Mystery DC pop that they did, where this was the big grail. And it's still carrying a lot of weight for New York Comic Con weekend. This pop was selling for about $2,000. They do have a separated price here on HobbyDB, which I do appreciate, for the con sticker and the shared sticker. There's only 50 pieces of the con and 50 of the shared, so that 100 piece split into 2. The con sticker here going for $1,570, with the last confirmed sale on October 18th, which was, or excuse me, November 18th, which was only 2 days ago, for $1,250, which, you know, seems somewhat about right when you split the difference between the two stickers. Maybe somebody didn't care about the sticker and they just wanted the pop. And then you have the shared sticker going for roughly $1,060, with the last sale being $1,000, ironically, on the same day, November 18th. So people are selling these quite frequently, which doesn't surprise me, because with this being only 100 pieces, if somebody only paid $40 for it, even if you love the Flash, you're going to be very tempted to flip that for $1,500, $1,200, $1,000, whatever it may be. And that brings us to my last point for today's video. So Angel XZ3VR left a very interesting comment on the last installment of this series a couple weeks ago. They said, most LE Pops are great, but in my opinion, scalpers are ruining it for actual collectors. I was lucky enough to get the Superior Iron Man, but it literally sold out in 30 seconds. I can understand the limited aspect and that we as collectors are not going to be able to grab all of them all the time, but when you see a pop selling out immediately and then an hour later it's posted on eBay or Mercari at 3 times the price, then you know lots of people are not even buying to collect, but to take advantage. People still buy them at higher prices, so who am I to judge? LOL. So there was a couple other comments on this comment as well, which I'm not going to get into. I want to focus on Angel's comment here because they made a lot of really great points, and some points that I do agree with. It does suck as a collector to see something that you want sell out. That's something that's always been a problem, not just in the Funko community, but in other communities like sneakers and sports cards, and most recently here in 2025 with Labubu's. But here's the thing. People only talk about the stuff that sells out because you have a lot of people who weren't able to get it. And it's kind of like the flip of the coin here. Like, do we want items that are desirable, that do sell out, or do we want Funko just to mass produce everything and then it's always readily available, but then there's not much hype, there's not much excitement? I mean, you can go on Funko's website right now and pick up a couple $5 pops. If you show them to somebody, it's not going to be as exciting as saying, hey, I got the Superior Iron Man that sold out in 30 seconds. They're going to be like, oh my God, good for you. That's awesome. I tried to get it. I wasn't able to get it. So unfortunately, it's kind of that side of collecting where things being limited and selling out and being desirable, that makes the hobby fun and exciting, and it gets people talking. If everything is just always available, there's not going to be much excitement. And unfortunately, with things being limited and selling out, it is going to invite people into the hobby and into the community because there is an opportunity for money to be made. I think with these limited piece drops, though, with so many things having such a high value on the secondary market, a lot of collectors are going to have a hard time looking themselves in the mirror and going, hey, you know, I'd kind of rather sell this. Because I'll give you an instance here in my case. If I'm able to get something limited that is selling for a high price on the secondary market that I necessarily don't care a lot about, I'm going to sell it and use that money to go pick up the Star Killer that I missed because I really want that item and I was really upset that I missed it. So you know, Funko as a company and any other company out there, there's no way they can only sell items to collectors. And there's no way, even if they were able to sell those items specifically and directly to collectors only, that collectors still don't have the freedom and the choice to decide, hey, you know, this 100-piece metallic Flash is going for $1,500 right now in the secondary market. That's $1,500 that I could really use right now to maybe pay a bill or a car repair or something and still have money left over to go out and buy a cheaper Flash pop, for example. So it's kind of a catch-22 where it's like, we as collectors, we want limited pieces, we want to see things selling out because that's a good indicator that Funko is popular and the company is doing well and they're making money. But at the same time, yes, as a collector as well, we still want to be able to have fair access to things. And the way limited pieces are right now, it's very tough to get them. And so many people have asked us what's our strategy for getting limited piece pops. We don't have one because most of the limited piece pops we have missed ourselves. But hopefully that just amplifies some insight into your comment. I just mainly want to say thank you, Angel, for dropping a comment like this because I bet you there's a lot of collectors out there who are having these same thoughts and these same dilemmas and are just wondering where to go. So it's a great topic of conversation. But if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely let me know your thoughts on limited pieces down in the comment section below. Like I said, if you see anything jump significantly or drop significantly in value, I definitely want to bring it to everybody's attention in the next episode. So with that being said, you guys are the best. Don't stop shooting until you score. And as always, you can watch more of our Funko videos on the end screen now.